13, graphing linear equations. The first thing I see there is the word linear, which means that linear means straight lines. We're going to graph out these things using a straight line here. All right, graph the equation y equals 3x minus 2. Now, there are lots of different ways to graph these. I'm going to show you a few different ways to graph these. It's up to you how you decide to do it though. Y equals 3x minus 2. A lot of you are thinking, all right, that's already in slope-intercept form. So then my slope is the number out in front of x, which is 3. My y-intercept is whatever's after that, minus 2. How we use those is, we use both of the numbers. The first number we use is the y-intercept. That's where it crosses our y-axis, which is at negative 2 here. And then our slope is 3. Or this is the same as 3 over 1. Alright, so slope is always change in y over change in x. So what we have to do here is, from this point, we're going to go up 3 and over 1. Up 3 and over 1. And then draw in our line here. Okay, make sure you get a ruler out to make sure that that is as straight as possible. And there's our line, then we're done. Another way to do that is to do an XY chart. For some people, this is way easier to do. For others, slope-intercept is easier to do. It depends on you. All right? For this, all you have to do is plug in numbers here. All right? If I plugged in a 0, 3 times 0 is 0, minus 2 is negative 2. Plug in a 1, 3 times 1 is 3, minus 2 is 1. Plug in a 2, 6 minus 2, or 3 minus 2, 3 times 2 is 6, minus 2 is 4. And if you look, these 3 points are the 3 points that I have on my graph. 0, 2, 1, 1, and 2, 4. So, either way, it gives you the exact same answer here. Alright, next one, we can also do it by using the intercepts. Alright, so if we look at that, 4x plus 5y equals 20, that's going to take a lot of work just to get into slope-intercept form. If you want to, you can. It's more important to be right than to do it really fast. Alright, so if you wanted to, we could spend all the time here putting this into slope-intercept form. The first thing would be, we've got to subtract the 4x over, and then we've got to divide by 5. So y equals negative 4/5 x plus 4. There's our equation, but because of that fraction, that's kind of messy, isn't it? But what we could do is we could go, our y-intercept is 4, so that's going up 4. And then our slope is down 4 over 5. Well, that's one way to get our line. If it just said graph it, there you go. And that's what I'm going to ask you on a test. I'm going to say graph that equation. You do it however you want. But if it says graph it using the intercepts, well, how do we do that? Finding the x-intercept. That is where it crosses the x-axis. When it crosses the x-axis, what we know for sure is that y has to equal 0. So if I put a 0 in for y, that gets rid of this term. So we just have 4x equals 20. So x has to equal 5. So my x-intercept is the point 5, 0. For my y-intercept, well, that's where it crosses the y-axis. That's when x equals 0. So I throw an 0 in here for x. We'd have 5y equals 20. So then y has to equal 4. So my y-intercept is the point 0, 4. Well, look at that. Those 2 points are already on there, right? 5, 0 over 5 up 0. For our y-intercept, 0, 4. There it is. There's our 2 points. 2 different ways to do it, and you get the same answer. All right, next one. Find the slope of the line containing the following pairs of points. Well, slope is, first of all, slope is m. That's always the change in y over the change in x. Make sure that you are doing it the same way for every single time. So if I'm going to start with this y, subtract that y, I've got to subtract this x first and subtract 0 second. Alright, so if I did it that way, 5 minus 3 over 4 minus 0 is 2 over 4. My slope is 1/2. Well, you might go, wait a second, you didn't take y2 minus y1. You're right. Technically what this equation says is it's just the change in y. So it can be in any order you want. If you want to do it the other way, 3 minus 5 over 0 minus 4, we would have negative 2 over negative 4. Well, that still simplifies to 1/2. Your slope is the same either way that you do it. You only have to do it one way. It depends on you. I like to look at my problem first and try and get rid of the negative signs if I can. So I would have taken the bigger number minus the smaller number every single time here. Just like over here, I'd take the bigger number minus the smaller number here too. 8 minus negative 2 over 3 minus 3. Well, minus and minus make a plus. 3 minus 3 is 0. So what's my slope here? 10 divided by 0, we can't do it. Alright, so what's my slope? Because we cannot divide by 0, our slope is an undefined slope. Alright, and this is a situation where if we were to graph this out, we would see, we'd come over 3, and we'd have a straight line going up and down at 3. An undefined slope means that the line goes straight up and down. Alright, so whenever you see that, I don't want to see this answer. I want to see this answer. This is the most correct answer there. It's an undefined slope. Alright, true situation here. I looked this up. Fargo is 906 feet above sea level. Grand Forks is 860 feet above sea level. The distance between Fargo and Grand Forks is 73 miles. Find the average slope of the land between the two cities. Well, there are a couple different problems with this. First of all, we've got to figure out x and y. Alright, x and y. So let's say for a situation that x is the distance between the two cities. Well, 73 miles, above we have feet, below we have miles. Shouldn't they be in the same situation there? Well, we're going to have to take 73 miles times 5,280 feet in that mile. Alright, so we multiply that out, and we're going to get a big number here. 5,280 times 73 miles. That is 385,440 feet here. Alright, well, change in x, change in y. I'm going to say that the distance, x is the distance between the two cities. And then y is the elevation. Well, y for elevation, Fargo is 906, and Grand Forks is 860. That's easy to do. But how do you figure out the distance? Well, we know that there's 385,000 feet in between the two cities. We've got to have a starting point. Since the river runs north, we're going to say that Fargo is the starting point. So the distance for Fargo is 0. The distance for Grand Forks is the 385,000 feet away. Alright, so we subtract these down. We've got 46 feet and a negative 385 1,440. Now, as we know, the slope is going to go down between Fargo and Grand Forks because that's the way the river runs. It's not going to be able to go uphill. All right, so we do need a negative slope here. But when we divide this out, we get a very, very tiny number. We get negative 0.000119 as our slope. All right, now if you think about that, if you think about water running off a mountain, that water is going to run really fast because that slope is really, really high. Either it's a negative high number or a positive high number, however you want to look at it. Okay, we also know that the water runs really slowly here because the land is so flat. This is why we have flooding problems in our area in the spring some years, because our slope is so tiny, it takes forever for the water to run away. So our average slope is negative 0.000119 for this. All right, don't worry about that. Okay, any questions, please let me know.